This is Gopi Kannan. So I'm working as a test manager in a product-based company. I got around 12 years of experience in software testing, including white box, black box, and even I was into performance testing too. So today I'm going to cover the mobile app automation implementation using Appium. Okay, just I'm going to give a brief overview about Appium. Then I'm going to cover what are the different frameworks available in the market and how Appium is different with each other. So like that, we are going to see today. The Appium is an open source framework. That is one of the advantage. So basically, this Appium framework is derived from Selenium stuff. Okay, of course you heard about Selenium, and many people having hands-on experience Selenium because nowadays the Selenium is a very familiar framework in the market because of the open source, and not only open source. Actually, it is having lot of n number of features compared with the commercial tools like Provara or UFT, something like that. Okay, so all most of the people, most of the companies are moving towards Selenium because of the easy implementation and very easy to utilize it for regression suite, or the many things can be achieved using the Selenium stuff. So for example, the UI automation, whether it is a JSP technology based web page or ASP.NET or something like that, any web pages with HTML controls can be automated using Selenium. So the same Selenium framework has been utilized by the Appium community. So the Appium, which is nothing but the most of the properties in Selenium got inherited in this Appium framework. Okay, but Selenium, you cannot utilize it for mobile app automation. So mobile app, what is mobile app? Just I want to highlight that is a standalone application. So you cannot automate that mobile application available in your phone using Selenium framework. So because of that limitation, we are moving towards the Appium. Okay, so the Appium is the fantastic framework which is supporting cross platform because you can automate both Android platform and iOS platform. Okay, you aware of it because these are the platforms available in the global market, because the most of the people are using this OS, which is nothing but mobile operating systems. Okay, because the Windows OS and even the Brew are very less penetration in the market, because of the most of the markets uh, uh, we- most of the people are using this Android and iOS, which is a fantastic one, because you don't want to use your desktop or laptop to do a lot of actions, because using your mobile app you can do e-commerce transaction, or you want to do any shopping or something like that, you want to book a ticket, everything you can achieve using your mobile app, right, installed in your mobile phone. So today we are going to see how to automate that application. So anyhow, you are going to test that application in a manual way, and at the same time you want to automate certain scenarios or the test cases available at your end. So those automation can be achieved using this Appium framework. Okay, so the Appium is a fantastic framework. It is supporting many programming languages because of this open source stuff. You can see in the screen that it will support Java, it will support Objective C, even it will support JavaScript. So PHP, C Sharp, any languages you can use, and you can prepare your automation script. So you will be writing your automation script for automating the functional requirements, right? So please note it down. This Appium is pure functional testing framework. It can be utilized to achieve that user acceptance testing. Okay, please note the word, the user acceptance testing. So the Appium is going to support user acceptance testing. If you want to do any white box or something like that, then Appium is not the right tool. Okay, like that, so Appium is going to utilize it for end-to-end automation. So for example, you want to install your mobile application in your phone from the common repository. Then after installation, you want to invoke that application using your script. Then you can uh, automate any user actions. For example, what are the user actions you are going to perform in your app? For example, I want to book a ticket, so you will be logging. Okay, you will be logging the application. Then you will be actually for example, book a ticket for a movie or something like that. Okay, you will be searching for a theater in that particular region. Then you will be searching for a particular show. Then again you will be selecting the seat. After that you will be doing the payment, right? So like that, till everything can be taken care using this Appium. So this is one of the use case I'm saying here. So like that, if you want to do a recharge or your bill payment or something like that, so everything can be achieved. I mean, the automation can be implemented for all the functional requirements whatever you are having in your end. So okay, so please note it down. This Appium can be utilized for mobile app automation. Again, this mobile app automation is nothing but it will support both standalone application. I mean, in your phone you can see, right, the Gmail application is there. Like that, many standalone applications, if it is a third party or if it is a proprietary, any applications can be automated using this Appium. Other than that, if you want to automate the mobile web, okay, the web applications can be accessed in your phone, right? So like www.irsctc.co.in or something like that. So some websites you will be accessing in your mobile browser, right? So those applications also can be automated using this Appium. Okay, so this is about the basic introduction about Appium. Okay, so each and everything can be automated using this Appium framework. So coming to the next slide, we are going to see the family of Android test frameworks. Okay, so these are the frameworks available in the market. Just I'm showcasing here about the open source actually. So these are the frameworks which is available in the market as open source. You can refer in GitHub. So all the frameworks are available in the market. So if you see, so these are the frameworks available in the market, and compared with all the frameworks, just I'll give a short gist about each one. Okay, first we can go for the Robotium. So the Robotium is one of the framework which can be utilized by running your by preparing your script using core Java. Okay, but unfortunately, Robotium will support only Android platform. It cannot be utilized for iOS platform because the Robotium is purely it is developed for unit testing purpose. Okay, so as I said, the Appium can be utilized for user acceptance testing, right? But unfortunately, the Robotium was developed basically for unit testing, but you can utilize that for achieving certain functional testing aspects also. Okay, so like that they have developed this Robotium, but the support nowadays for this Robotium is very limited. I mean, the community began this Robotium development, actually the fixes whatever we are facing any problems, the fixes coming from their end is very slow. So this is one of the drawback of Robotium. So like that Espresso, which is released by developed and released by Google. Okay, so the Google developed this Espresso for their unit testing framework. So whatever the Android applications developed in their end, whether it is a proprietary inbuilt applications or if it is a third party application, something like that, anything can be automated using this Espresso. But again, it is limited. So the Espresso also will support only the Android platform. Okay, you cannot use Espresso to automate any iOS stuff. Okay, so the next one is the Calabash. The Calabash is nothing but basically it is developed using the behavior driven development. Okay, so like the Cucumber stuff, the wrapper Gherkin has been utilized to develop this Calabash. But even the Calabash is having very limited support from the communities. So the final one is Appium. So the Appium is a fantastic framework. Please note it down. Appium is depending on UI Automator API to interact with your device. The last, the final one you can see ART/DVM. So that is nothing but it's a runtime environment. So you are aware of JVM, right? What JVM is doing? So the Java virtual machine is nothing but all the Java bytecodes are executed using the JVM. So it's a runtime environment, right? So each and every application developed using Java can be executed based on the JVM. So like that, the mobile application developed for Android platform is going to utilize this runtime environment, which is nothing but Android runtime for 64-bit and Dalvik virtual machine for that 32-bit. Okay, so it's coming to the background of this one is nothing but the Google tweaked the JVM and they have developed their own customized virtual machine. I mean, runtime environment for Android platform. So that is mentioned as DVM. So later they want to move from 32-bit to 64-bit. So they have developed this Android runtime. So the ART. Okay. So using this runtime environment only, the Appium is going to execute its scripts and it is going to run in your mobile phone. Okay, so I'm giving just a high level introduction about the family of Android test frameworks. So there are a lot of the comparison matrix are available in between these frameworks. Okay, but the highlight of Appium is nothing but I told you, right? So the resigning of APK or something like that is not applicable for Appium. So but if you want to work in the Robotium and all, the APK is nothing but it's a application package. What we will be saying as exe. So the exe is nothing but executable for Windows machine, right? So like that, the Android platform executable is APK. Okay, so the application package is going to be released by your development team, and the same apk is going to be installed in your phone. So how the exe is working in your windows machine, so like that, how the dmg file is working in your mac machine, so like that, it's nothing but an executable file which is going to be installed in your android phone. So please note it down, the extension of that android platform is not android mobile application is nothing but apk. Okay, so the apk is going to be installed in your phone. Then the application is going to be invoked, and you can do a lot of user actions. So I told you, right, depends upon the application behavior, whether if you're going to work on the bill pay sort of application, or mobile recharge application, or the ticket booking, movie ticket, or bus ticket, or something like that, any applications if you want to work it out. So all those applications are going to depend on this runtime environment. The framework behind that android platform is nothing but whatever I'm showing here, okay, in the screen. So next I'm going to move towards the family of iOS test frameworks. Okay, so here the same Calabash and Appium is supporting the cross-platform one, but remaining things are will support the iOS platform alone. Okay, the Frank is totally outdated, but even though till iOS 9 we got support for Frank, but after that we got very limited support for Frank. So the KIF and XE test, I mean the UI testing, whatever I'm showing in the screen is the main framework. The basic purpose of this framework is nothing but this UI testing and all they have developed for taking care of the unit testing, the XC test, which is nothing but the unit testing framework developed by the Apple community. So just for your understanding, so we have seen that Espresso, right? So developed by Google. So like that, the Apple developed this XC test for their unit testing purpose. Okay, so whatever the application they have developed in their end, so they want to perform the unit testing, right? So like a lot of unit testing tools available in the market, just you correlate with TestNG, JUnit, so like that, even NUnit. So like that, they have developed this XC test to take care of their unit testing stuff. Okay, so using that XC test framework, this Appium KIF, which is nothing but keep it functional, then UI testing, all these frameworks are running. Okay, all these frameworks are working. So you can see the Appium is sharing the combination of XC test and UI automation. Okay, so we have seen the UI automator in the previous slide, right? So the Appium is sharing the UI automator. So you can see that UI automator here, right? So like that, the iOS is nothing but it is having the API of UI automation. Okay, but unfortunately, Apple stopped their support to utilize this UI automation for performing the user actions in their iPhone. Okay, in their iPhone or iPad or whatever the iOS platform, they stopped their support actually. So as of now, till iOS 9 only you can use this UI automation API to do automation, but after iOS 9, I mean from iOS 10 onwards, so now the market is in iOS 11. Okay, I'm talking about the iPhone OS version. The iOS 11 is nothing but the iPhone OS version I'm saying. Okay, till iOS 9 this UI automation API can be utilized, but from iOS 10 onwards you are going to depend on this XC test. So the Appium is going to depend on the XC test. Okay, so the XC test will be utilized to take care of any user actions in the mobile application. Okay, so what is the exact purpose of automation? Just we are going to automate the user actions. So those user action is nothing but the functional requirement given by the client or customer. Okay, so those functional requirements we are going to ensure whether those user actions has been properly handled by this application or not. So I want to enter certain text, I want to click a button, or I want to do what to say some scroll or something like that. So I am going to do many user actions in the application to achieve a complete functional stuff. Okay, so based on that we are going to automate that user actions using this Appium framework. Okay, so coming back to this stack available
Mufi,
in, yeah, yeah,
just can I take a moment? I'll just again repeat the audience how to
yeah, yeah,
ask the
sure, sure,
question.
sure,
Yeah,
sure.
thank you. Hey everyone in the audience. So to ask a question to the presenter, you can go to usingboard.com/meetups, click on the upcoming button, and once you click on that, it will take you to this meetups page. There we have all the presentation and a live streaming attached. And bottom of the page we have a comment section, and you can utilize this to ask your question to the presenter. So thank you everyone. Over to you, Gopi. You can continue.
Yeah, thank you, Mayur. So coming back to the stack available in my screen, okay. So as I told you, the XC test, okay, which is the unit testing framework. So the same unit testing framework is going to be utilized by the Appium framework, okay. So the Appium framework is going to integrate with that XC test in the name of XC UI test. So the new API has been developed by the Appium community, which is going to integrate with the XC test, and all the user actions are going to be performed. Okay. Anyway, I'll be showcasing you the test scripts. So what all the user action test script you can prepare using this Appium framework. So I'll be showcasing you. Even I'm going to cover a detailed demo. So how the script execution is happening in the real device. So like that, I'm going to show you here. So coming back to this slide, so using the Cucumber stuff, the Calabash and Frank is working. So as I told, so the base language of Calabash is the Ruby is the base language. You have to write your scripts. For example, already the step definitions will be there. If you want to modify the step definition, you want to take care any new functionality in that particular Calabash framework, then you should be aware of Ruby language. Then only you can write the script. It is not like Appium stuff, because Appium can be uh, utilized by using any programming language. I told you, right? If you know Python, you can write your script. If you know Java, you can write your script, the automation script I am saying. But if you want to write certain script in the Calabash, then you are aware of Ruby. So like that, if you want to write your script in KIF, that keep it functional, or directly the UI testing, which is nothing but XC UI test, then you should aware of Swift or Objective C. So like that, a lot of limitations are there to go for iOS automation. But the main advantage of this Appium is nothing but, if you are able to write your script using CoreJava, using CoreJava, then you can start automate both the platforms. I mean, the iOS application can be automated, and at the same time, you can automate the Android application also. Okay. The element syntax is going to differ. Anyway, I'm going to cover that one. The element is nothing but, you are going to see a lot of elements in the screen. So what is element? A button is an element. Okay. A text box is an element. A drop down list is an element. A list box is an element. So like that, you are going to play with the elements in the mobile screen. Okay. You are going to utilize that element, and you are going to take care the user action. Okay. So you should aware what I'm going to do. So what is element in the screen? What I'm saying here, so the element is nothing but the different controls, because each people will be using different terms here. So one guy will be saying this is a control, another guy will be saying this is a component, another guy will be saying no, this is a element. So like that, it depends upon the people perspective, the name, the term will be utilized. Okay. You what I'm saying here is, so always I'll prefer to say this is the UI element, so this is a text box element, that's it. So I'm going to enter certain text in this text box element. So what are all the syntax we are going to utilize to enter the text? So like that, we are going to see it now. Okay. In the coming slides, I'm saying. So this is about the family of iOS test frameworks. So please note it down. The iOS ecosystem is not like Android. So the one of the advantage of Android is, so there are three different types of application in both the platform. Okay. So the one is native application, and the next one is hybrid application, and the third one is mobile web. So the mobile web is nothing but, already I told you, right, using your mobile browser. So how you are using the web browser in your desktop or laptop. So you'll be using the Chrome browser to open certain web application or website, something like that, right? The same thing is applicable for mobile phone. So that is coming under mobile web. Okay. The next one is nothing but native application. So the native is nothing but, if the application developed using the proprietary SDKs. I mean, the Android application developed by using Android SDK with Java, then those components available in that mobile application, I mean, the UI elements available in the applications got utilized from the Android SDK. Okay. So like that, if application developed for iOS alone, specifically the iOS native application I want to develop means, then I have to use iOS SDK integrated with the Xcode. The Xcode is nothing but IDE. Okay. Anyway, I'll be discussing more about that. So in the bottom of the screen, you can see Xcode. The Xcode is nothing but it's IDE, which is used for iOS app and Mac app. So both the applications, developed by using the Xcode only. Okay, so inside that Xcode, the SDK, the iOS or Mac SDK will be there. So the software development kit is going to be utilized by the developers, and they'll be taking the controls. I mean, the text box or the radio button or something like that. They are going to take it from that SDK, and they will develop the code. Okay. So once the development is happening, then they will build that code and they will be releasing as a IPA file. So what is IPA file here? So as I told you about the Android stuff, right? So APK file, you are aware of that APK file, the application package. So the same APK, the APK is applicable for Android platform. Here, the iOS application is going to be released based on the .app or .ipa. There are two extensions there. Okay, so anyhow, both the IPA and APP is nothing but it's a iPhone or iPad mobile application. Okay, so if you tell as Android application, then it's iOS application. That's it. iOS mobile application. Okay, so the iOS applicable for iPad and iPhone. Okay, so here I am talking about only the iPhone and iPad. I'm not talking about the Mac. Okay, so whatever you can see in the screen, so the iOS test frameworks, these are the frameworks available in the market, and we are going to take that executable, whether it is IPA or APP or APK, and we are going to install in our mobile phone. Okay, so the APK file is going to be installed in the Android phone alone. The IPA file or .app file is going to be installed in the iPhone alone or iPad alone. Okay, so like that, you are going to install that and you are going to automate it. Got it right? Using the frameworks available in the screen. But whatever I'm discussing here is, so there are a lot of advantages behind the implementation of Appium. Okay, so as I told, you can go for cross-platform automation using Appium, and you can get n number of third-party libraries. For example, if I want to go for sorry, if I want to go for uh, any third party libraries. So if I want to go for data driven approach, okay, so I want to take the test data from the Excel sheet. Okay, so I can go for Apache POI library or JXL library. Then I can integrate that library in my Appium framework, and I can start work on the data driven approach. Like I can take the test data. For example, I told you, right, some login screen is there in my mobile application. So to enter the credentials, I can take that credentials from the Excel sheet and I can enter here. So instead of directly hard code that credentials in my code, I can take that credentials from the Excel sheet and I can enter here. Got it right? So after that, I'll be taking care of the user action, like submit. By clicking the submit button, I'll be moving to the home page of that application. So like that, you can go for n number of third-party integration, third-party libraries integration using Appium, but those integration is very limited for other frameworks available in the screen. Okay. So for example, I want to show you a better report, the first final test report, which is nothing but it's based on the auditor compliance purpose. The test report is very mandatory, right? So you should provide the test evidence and the test report should be there. So the auto generated test report can be achieved using the Appium framework. So I can go for extend report, which is the open source stuff, and I can integrate that extend report in this Appium framework, and I can generate the report with the test evidence like screenshots or something like that. Okay. So I'm moving to the next screen. So this is the workflow of Appium. Okay, so if you see the screen, so this is nothing but how the Appium is working, how Appium is working. So how the data is traveling from in between the Appium and the script preparation. You will be using one machine to prepare your script, right? If you see the screen, so in the left, yeah.
If you want to take a break, can I just again tell the audience because they have joined, so I'll just let them know.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks. So recently joined. I will inform you that this is a live meetup, and if you have any question, you can go to on this meetup comment section at the bottom of the page, and you can come here and you can post your question in this comment section, and we'll take it. We'll take that question, and our presenter will answer that question. So that's all from my end. Gopi, you can carry on.
Yeah, thank you. So if you see the screen in the left hand side, the Appium client I mentioned, right? So what is Appium client? So if you want to prepare the script, okay, so I told you, right, if you want to do certain, if you want to take care certain user actions, so I want to enter the text, then I want to click button. Okay, so if you want to take care of these two actions, then you are going to write this user action specific script in the client. Okay, so the client is nothing but, yeah, IDE installed in your laptop or desktop. So I am using Eclipse here. So like that, if you are having IntelliJ or NetBeans, something like that, so you are going to use that IDE and you are going to prepare that script using the client libraries of Appium. So the Appium client mentioned in the left hand side. Okay, so you can see here. Just a minute, I'll take my cursor. Yeah. So if you see here, Appium client can be in any language platform as long as it is used by Appium libraries or plain HTTP API for sending request. Okay. So the Appium client library is going to be utilized here to get that user actions. So whatever the user actions you want to write it as a script, those user actions are going to be available as a inbuilt method inside this Appium client library. You got it right? So this is very important. You should understand this workflow, then it will be easy for you to write the script. So how the script is working in the Appium, you can easily understood based on this workflow of Appium. Okay, so whatever the libraries you are going to get it from the Appium, so those libraries going to be utilized to prepare the user action script. So the various methods available inside the library, you are going to utilize it and you are going to prepare the script. So once the script preparation is done using the Eclipse IDE, you will be executing that script. Okay, so this Appium is working based on the client server technology. So in the left hand side you can see the client, right? So like that, the client request, so after the execution, your script is going to send as a request from the client to the server. In the center box you can see the Appium server. Okay, so all the scripts you prepared in the client, so you just correlate with the Eclipse IDE. So you are using Eclipse IDE, and the scripts whatever you prepared in the Eclipse IDE is nothing but client specific script. Okay, so those client specific script is going to be pushed to the server. So it is going to be sent as a request, and the server is going to send that request to the target device, whether you have connected the iOS device with the Appium server or Android device with the Appium server. Okay, so you are going to send that request, then the particular user actions can be executed in the target device connected with the Appium server. Okay, so the Appium server is going to be running in your laptop or desktop. So and at the same time, your Android device or iOS device is going to be connected with your laptop or desktop. Okay, so my Appium server is going to interact with the target device and it will execute that user action. That's it. Okay, so one more tweak is there here. You cannot automate iOS related stuff. I mean, you cannot automate iPhone using your Windows machine. That is very important. Okay, so the iPhone can be automated using only Mac, or a workaround solution is there. You can install the virtual machine, that VMware VM Mac VM in your Windows machine, then you can automate the iOS platform. Okay, so you cannot automate the iOS platform in the Windows machine. Please note it down. But the Android platform can be automated in the Mac. I mean, your Mac machine can be utilized to automate both Android platform and the iOS platform. Got it right? This is very important. Please note it down. If you want to if you want to implement this Appium automation in your end, and you want to automate both iOS platform and the Android platform, you should go for Mac. The Mac OS X should be there, then only you can automate both the platform. If I am not having Mac OS X, then you can implement automation only for Android platform, because the Windows machine will support only the Android platform. That is very important. You should be aware of it. Okay, so coming back to the workflow of Appium. So as I said, you are going to prepare your script, the Appium client based scripts, using the any of the IDE available at your end. Then you are going to download all the libraries from the appium.io official website. Okay, then you are going to prepare your script. You are going to send that request to the server. The server is going to send that request to the target device connected with the laptop or desktop. Then the execution done, then you will be getting back the response. Got it right? So this is nothing but the workflow of Appium. So this is some high level picture about the way of working. Okay, so I told you, right, in the right hand side you can see the test running machine, right? So the test running machine is nothing but which is nothing but your laptop or desktop. Okay, so as I told, your IDE, I mean the Eclipse, NetBeans, or what I say, the IntelliJ is going to be installed in this test running machine. Then and the next one is Selenium WebDriver. I told you, right, basically the Appium got developed using the Selenium stuff. But please note it down, the methods available in the Appium is totally unique. You cannot expect those methods in the Selenium, like touch actions. I want to touch, four finger touch should be done concurrently in your phone. That is cannot be achieved using the Selenium stuff. Okay, so they have reused certain properties, methods available in the Selenium, and they have modified the code specifically for the mobile platform. I mean, inside the Appium framework, I'm saying. Okay, so the next one is sorry. So the next one is nothing but test server. The test server is nothing but the Appium server. In the previous slide, I showed I shown you, right. The same thing applicable here. The test running machine is client. The test server is nothing but the server. So the client is going to interact with the server. The server is going to interact with the target device. Got it, right? So this is very easy to understand. So nothing complication is here. So you should understand the client server terminology. Then it will be easy for you to implement the Appium in your end, whether if you want to work as a proof of concept or if you want to work as a feasibility study for your application available in your office, or on your self-interest. If you want to learn Appium, it doesn't matter, you should clearly understood. So what is client, what is server, how the target device is connecting with the server. So these are the terminologies you should understand, then easily you can achieve it. Okay, so the next slide. So this is nothing but the code structure. Okay, so based on this code structure only you are going to work it out. So what is about this code structure? If you see in the screen, so we are going to depend on certain drivers. So if you're already aware of Selenium, then easily you should understand what is WebDriver. Okay, so the WebDriver is nothing but depends upon the browser, the WebDriver will vary. Okay, so for example, if you want to work on the Chrome browser, then you will be going for Chrome driver. If you want to work on the Microsoft Edge browser, then you will be going for Edge driver. So like that, if you want to work on the Firefox, of course, the Firefox and the Chrome is a standardized one in Selenium implementation. So like that, the same driver logics applies here. If you want to go for Appium implementation, then you have to select the Android driver for Android platform, iOS driver for iOS platform, or I want to go for cross platform, I want to automate both the iOS and Android, then you should select the Appium driver. Got it, right? And the final one is remote web driver. So what is the purpose of remote web driver? If you want to go for mobile web automation, and again at the same time I want to automate and I want to run my script by performing the parallel execution in different devices connected in the single machine. Okay, so like that you can go for different drivers to achieve certain stuff. Okay, so this is nothing but the driver initialization is very important in your end. So the next one is desired capabilities. The backbone of Appium automation is nothing but desired capabilities. Okay, so you should be aware of what is desired capabilities. So in the screen you can see, right? So what is the device name, what is the platform version, what is the platform name, what is app package, what is app activity. So these are the important parameters you should understand, then only you can go for Appium implementation. Okay, so I'll be explaining each and every one here. So the device name is nothing but you can give any name. So because which is nothing but your device name is nothing but I'll be showing how to take the device name by running the adb devices command. Okay, so you are going to use that command and you are going to pick the device name and you can give it here. The next one is platform version. Of course, the platform version is not a mandatory one. So even though if you're not giving that platform version, your script will nicely execute. You no need to worry about that. And the next third one is platform name. So if you're going to automate Android, then you should give Android here. If you're going to automate iOS, then you should mention iOS here. Okay, so the last two parameters is very important. Okay, so what is the purpose of that parameter? For example, if you're going to work in the Selenium, you will be giving the URL of your application, right? Your whatever the web application you are going to work. So www dot example the paypal.com. So like that you are going to give the web application URL. Here we are working with the standalone application. I mean, which is nothing but a if you compare with the Windows, so what is the difference between Windows application and web application? So Windows application is nothing but a standalone application, right? So like that, you are going to work with the standalone application in the mobile platform. So you have to give the particular mobile application package name and activity name. So I'll be showing you how to take the package name and activity name using the ADB commands. I'll be showing you. Okay, so there is a dumsys command is available. I'll be running that command. I'll show you how to take that package name and all. Okay, so coming back to that one, so you should give the package name. So the package name is nothing but, so how we are working with the Java. So you are creating the package, then only you are going to create the pack, then only you are going to create a class, right? So when you're going to create a sample program using the Java stuff and all, so like that, if a developer going to develop a mobile application, so they are going to create the package. Okay, so inside that package, multiple classes going to be created based on their requirements, needs, etc. Okay, so coming back to this one, so you have to get that package name of your target application. If you want to automate Paytm, okay, or if you want to automate a build desk application, something like that. Okay, many familiar applications available in market. If you want to automate the Facebook application, okay, so you want to take that package name of your Facebook application or Paytm application, then you are going to give that package name in your script. The next one is nothing but the activity name. So activity is nothing but the first screen name of your mobile application should be mentioned here. Okay, so these are the main difference in between the Selenium based automation and Appium based automation. Okay, you should clearly give the package name and the activity name of your target mobile application, then only the particular application can be identified by your Appium script and it will invoke in this screen. I mean, it will be opening in this screen. Got it right? So this is very important. So you are going to mention about the device information inside the desired capabilities. So I told you, right, the desired capability is nothing but backbone of your Appium automation. So you are going to collect the device details and you are going to mention those information. Not only device details, I mean the target application details also. The combination of device details and the application details you are going to collect and you are going to mention inside the desired capability stuff. Okay, so this is very important. So based on this only, which is the target device going to be identified by your Appium and which is the target application is going to be identified by your Appium. So please note it down. So which is the right device, which is the right application I want to automate. So those informations are going to be identified using this desired capabilities section. Okay, so the next point, so I told you, right, this is working based on the client server. So I have prepared the script in my client. So how it will interact with the server? So I'm going to give the server information in the next part. So if you see here, the driver equal to new remote web driver, new URL, then I've given the Appium server IP address and port number. Okay, I know I'll show you. So how can you get this information in the Appium server? It's not a problem. Okay. So, and the next one is nothing but just I'm going to give an implicit wait. So for every user actions, I'm going to wait up to here I have mentioned 80 seconds. Okay, you just give 30 seconds. That is a standardized one. So after that, you can prepare your user action script. I'll show you. So the user action script I'll show you when I'm going to run the demo, because in the next couple of slides I'm going to run my script. Actually, I'm going to execute my Appium script and it is going to be run in the mobile device. I'll be showing that. Okay, so coming back to the slide, whatever the prerequisites you are going to mention in the before test. So this is nothing but JUnit. So I have mentioned just at before. If you are going to work in the test ng, then you are going to mention at before method or at before suit or at before test, something like that you are going to give. So please note it down. The prerequisite, whatever you are going to take care, I mean the desired capability stuff with the device information and the application information is going to be mentioned inside that. Then which is the right server I'm going to interact from the client, you are going to mention that. Okay, then whatever the user action script you are going to prepare, those information is going to be available inside the at test method. I'll be showing you in my Eclipse IDE. Okay, and the final one is nothing but whatever the connection I established using the driver, I'm going to quit the driver, which is nothing but the application will be closed actually. Okay, So there are two different methods available. You can use driver.quit or driver.close. You can use anything. Okay. So the advantage of driver.quit is nothing but the connection in between the client and the server will be killed using this driver.quit. Okay. That is very important. So this is some high-level information about the code structure overview. Okay, at the time of demo, I'll be explaining more information. Okay, so what are the things you are going to take care inside the user action stuff. So I'll segregate this Appium stuff into two different areas. So one is nothing but desired capabilities. Another one is nothing but user actions. So the desired capabilities is going to be used for identify the target device and then identify the target application, and the next area is nothing but user actions. So what are the user actions I'm going to achieve in this target application available in the phone? Got it right? So I'm moving to the next slide. So previously we discussed, right? So what are the elements available in the screen? So whether it's a text box, a radio button, or a checkbox, something like that. So those elements are going to be identified using the inspectors. Got it right? So you aware of the debugging tool in the Chrome browsers. Okay, then Firebug, which is very outdated one. Okay, so that Firebug will be used in the Firefox browser to identify the UI elements in the web application. So like that, the mobile application will be having n number of elements in the screen, right? So using that elements only, you are going to do certain user actions. So those elements are, you should identify that element information. Based on that element information only, user actions. Okay, so these are the inspectors available in the market, which is very good to go ahead. So for example, the UI Automator Viewer, which is available as a inbuilt inside the Android SDK. Then Android Device Monitor, which is nothing but the batch available in the inside the Android SDK. Then the Chrome Inspector, which can be used for hybrid application and mobile web application to do automation. And the final one is Appium Inspector. So inside the Appium server itself, there is a utility which can be used to inspect the UI elements available in the mobile application. Okay. So I'm moving to the next slide. So these are the UI locators. So already, if you work in the Selenium, or if you heard about the Selenium based automation, so what are the attributes of that particular element I write my script? Okay, so for example, based on the ID, I can capture the information and I can prepare my automation script. So if you compare with the Selenium, so Selenium is having this link text, partial link text, CSS, tag name, and all. But unfortunately, Appium will not support those attributes. Okay, so whatever in the green tick you are seeing in the screen, right? So you can utilize ID, name, class name, XPath. That's it. So these are the four different attributes you are going to use it in the Appium to get the element information. Please note it down. You should clearly aware of what is the element in the mobile application, as I discussed, which is nothing but a text box or button, something like that. Okay, so the different elements going to be available in the screen. You are going to use these attributes to do certain user actions with that elements. Okay. Okay, so now coming to the demo part. Okay, so this is very important. You are going to see how my test scripts going to be executed in the real device. Okay.
Sure. Thanks, Gopi. So
Yeah,
meanwhile, you connect. I'll just explain the audience because there are a few people online. I'll just explain them how to uh, ask you a question.
sure, sure.
Thanks, Gopi. You can connect now, and I'll just meanwhile.
Yeah.
So to those who are online, if you want to ask any question uh, to the speaker, you can go to this softwaretestingboard.com/meetups page, and you can click on upcoming. That will take you to the current meetups page. And on this meetups page, after the live stream and the presentation, at the bottom we have a comment section. And you can post your question here, and we'll ask this question uh, to the speaker, and he will answer your question in the live stream. So that's all. Over to you, Copy.
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to share my screen again. You can see my screen, right, Mayur?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So actually, I opened the Appium server. Okay, you can download this Appium server in the appium.io website. I can show you where you can see that. So if you give appium.io, so in the download section, you can see. So you can see downloads here. So I told you, right, the client library can be used to automate the for script preparation. So various methods are going to be available inside the client library. You are going to reuse that method to perform the user action. That is one thing. And this is nothing but the desktop apps, which is nothing but the Appium server. So whatever the scripts you prepared using this client is going to be reach the Appium server, and the Appium server is going to interact with the target device. That is very important. Okay. So again, the next thing is nothing but, so this is the Appium server, and you can see here. So just I'm going to make the server up using the IP address. I'm going to give as 0.0.0. Then the port number is 4723. So the server is up. So once the server is up, then you can see the listener started message here. Okay. So if you're able to see this listener started, then your Appium server is running successfully. There is no issue like that. Okay. So this is one of the standalone application available for the Appium implementation. Okay. So the next one is, what I'm going to do is, I have connected one of the one real device here. Okay. So I'm going to check whether my device properly connected in my machine. So you can see the ID. Okay. So I told you, right, you can give the device name by getting the ADB devices command, by running the ADB devices command. So I have given this device name in my desired capabilities. So if you see here, so the device name, I have mentioned the device name by running the ADB devices command. Even though the device name is not mandatory, but always you try to use these device name stuff, whatever, because if you're going for parallel execution, multiple run in different devices, then which is going to be a mandatory one in your. So please note it down. You are going to collect the device name using the ADB devices command. So after that, as usual, I told you, so the platform name you are going to mention. Then the next one is nothing but, just I'm having the APK. So here, for showcasing purpose, I'm going to use a typography application, which is nothing but Fontly, available in the Play Store. So even this is one of the advantage of this Appium automation. You can download any native application from the Play Store, and you can start automate it. So no need to get the source code, or no need to get any beta build or something like that from the appropriate development team. Okay, you can download any application from Play Store, and you can start automate it. Okay. So like that, I have taken the production application of Fontly, and I'm using here for the automation implementation purpose. Okay. So the next one is nothing but, so I told you, right, the how the package name and the activity name should be identified. So I'm going to run one command. Okay. So before that, give me a second. I'm going to show you my mobile screen here.
Thanks, Gopi. So,
Yeah.
quickly to those who have recently joined, again, I'm just repeating that we have a comment box at the bottom of the page on the meetups page. You can scroll to the end of the page and you will see the comment box loading. You can post your question over there, and we'll be getting those questions live from the Gopi today. Over to you, Gopi.
Yeah, sure. So we can wait till it is getting loaded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the Fontly application up in my mobile. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to execute this command. So please note it down. What is the target application you are going to automate? You should open that application in your phone and you have to run this command. Okay. I'm going to run this command. So by opening the target application, give me a second. So you can see I opened that Fontly typography application here. So in that, the first from com.imagineer.fontly is the package name, and the next one is com.imagineer.fontly.screens.welcome activity. This is the activity name, which is nothing but the initial screen name. So I have mentioned the same thing in my script. Okay, so the app package is going to have that package name, and the app activity is going to have the activity name. Okay, so like that, I'm going to get the package name and activity name, and I'm going to mention here. So we can see whether the yeah, it is loaded. Just a minute, because for demo purpose it will be good to see this. Yeah, so just I'm taking mirror of my real device screen here, that's it. Okay, I'm not doing anything more than that. Yeah, so you can see my screen, right? So this is my real device screen. So first I'll be running my script. After that, I'll be explaining what is happening using my script. Okay, so already the server is running here. So I have mentioned the 4723 and 0.0.0 IP address. So we are going to interact with the server using this section. Okay, so this is nothing but the client script. So this is nothing but the desired capabilities. So I have taken the APK file from this location, and I'm going to mention that location using the app capability stuff. So what is going to happen is nothing but the APK file is going to be fetched from my local drive, and it is going to install in the target device. Please note it down. This APK file is available in my laptop. Okay, so the same APK file is going to be taken from my laptop, and it is going to install in the target device. Got it right? So you can see in the screen, I'm going to uninstall this Fontly application. So I uninstalled. Now I'm going to run the script. So after running the script, I'll be explaining you the user action stuff. Okay, so you can see here. So other side, oh, sorry. So in the Appium server console, you can see what is happening, what all the user actions are running. Like that, you can see each and everything. Yeah, the Foundry application got invoked, installed and invoked. Then the login is happening. The username typed. So I'm just entering the text, okay, using the automation script. I'm not doing anything manually here. My automation script is running. So the login successfully done. So just I'm waiting for one screen here. Yes, it's loaded. So the execution done. You can see. So my login test case is success. Okay, so now coming back to this one, just a minute. Now I'll coming. I'm going to discuss about this script here. Okay, so I have used the Eclipse IDE here, and as I told, just I mapped the Appium client libraries in my Eclipse IDE, and I already downloaded the Appium server, and I make the server up. Okay. In the other hand, just I connected my Android device. Just I used the MIA1, which is having the stock ROM of Android 1. Okay. So I connected my Android phone here. So the Xiaomi MIA1 I used here. So after that, I prepared the desired capabilities as I told you. So just I'm going to take the APK file from this location and I'm going to install in my target device. Then I captured the package name and activity name and I mentioned here. So after that, so which is the server I want to interact, I have given the server stuff here. So this is that's it. So I told you, right, two areas which is very important, the Appium implementation. The one area is desired capability area and the next area is user actions. So now coming to the user actions. So what I'm doing here is nothing but just I capture the element information. I told you, right? So the inspectors are there. Using that inspector, I captured the element information like that. I told you, right? So how I captured the element information? Just I'll give a small gist. Okay, I'm not going to showcase each and every elements available in the screen. So I'll show you the first one. Okay, the button skip. Okay, so before that, I'm going to clear the cache of this app because already it will be in the login position. So you can see, so already it's in login position. So instead of that, I'm going to clear the cache. Yes. So I'm going to open this. So you can see at the bottom of the screen, skip button is there, right? So you can see my cursor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, there are 4 different types of inspectors I shown you, right? So now I'm going to showcase you only one inspector. Okay. Anyhow, you can automate the application using that inspector. It's not a problem actually. So the UI automator viewer. So you can see the location inside the Android SDK and inside the tools folder, and inside that bin folder will be there. Inside that, the UI automator viewer .bat will be there. So it is coming as a free utility from the Android SDK. Okay. So once you run that batch file, you can see this utility screen. So you are going to click the second icon, device screenshot. I mean, you are going to take the screenshot of your screen. So what is showing in my screen is nothing but you can see in my team viewer. So you can see, right? So this is the screen showing in my screen. So what I'm going to do is, so just I'm going to click this button. So my screen got captured in this UI automator viewer. Okay. So if you are going to click anything, then easily you can see the element information in the right pane. So the text is skip. The resource ID is com.imagineer.fontly idea / btn underscore skip. Then this is the class, this is the package. So like that, you can get each and every element information using this UI automator viewer. So like that, many inspectors are available for you with respect to Appium workout. Okay. So Appium implementation, you can go for any inspectors. Even by default, the Appium server is having its own utility to inspect the elements. Okay, in the interest of time, just I'm going to show you only the UI automator viewer here. So like that, if you want to capture anything, so for example, I'll show you. So if you want to capture anything, then easily you can click it and you can get the information. Okay. So like that, if you see here, give me a second. So if you see here, so this is the resource ID I have taken. Okay. So I told you, right, by ID, then class is there, then text is there. So the different locators I shown you, right? So like that, I'm going to use the locator of based on the ID stuff, and I capture this information and I mentioned here. So I have given the same ID information here. Got it, right? So this is the ID information I captured using the UI automator viewer. So using this information I mentioned here, then I'm going to call the dot click method. That's it. So if you see here, so it is available inside the library. So whatever I have used the libraries, so those libraries going to have different methods. So for example, even this Android driver is available inside my Appium library. So I told you, right, the client library should be downloaded from appium.io. So the same client library is having this driver stuff, methods, each and everything is available inside that client library. Okay, so like that I captured each and every element information and I prepared this user action script. Okay, so then I have created a 45 seconds wait for element object, and I have given the element stuff inside that. So up to 45 seconds it will try to uh, check this element is available in the screen or not. If it is available, then it will move to the next script. So like this, you are going to prepare the user action script and you are going to take care the automation stuff available in the mobile application. I mean, if you want to implement the Appium stuff with respect to functional testing or user acceptance testing, okay, you are going to automate certain scenarios. You are going to automate certain user actions, okay, with respect to the requirements available at your end. So you are going to follow the same approach in your end, and you can implement this Appium to take care of the regression suite or some end-to-end automation, or even the sanity check, or even the build verification testing can be achieved, whether my application is properly opened or not, whether my application properly login is happening or not. Like that, you can check each and everything. So got it right. So this is the way I have taken the stuff. After that, I used this file utilities and I captured the screenshot. If you see here, so this get screenshot as is already available in the inside the client library. Okay, so I have used this method and I have taken a screenshot of my final screen. So if you see here, so here you can see, so this is the screenshot I captured. Got it right. So like that, the login is successfully done. After that, I wait for some time to get the screen. Okay, then I capture the screen. That's it, my test case got over based on the driver.pit. So that's it about the demo. So whatever you have seen here, so this is nothing but so I have used the Eclipse IDE. Then I have created the POM based project. I'll show you. So what are all the stuff I used here. Okay, so if you see here, so nothing I'm using here. So I created the Maven project. Just I have used the Java client 6.0.0.beta 5, then the testng. Okay, so that's it. So all the dependencies are going to be automatically downloaded using this pom.xml stuff. Okay, you are going to create a dependency. Only two dependencies you are going to create. One is nothing but the io.appium, which is nothing but the client libraries of Appium. You are going to get it from the Maven repo, and the second dependency is nothing but the testng stuff. Okay, that's it. You are going to use these two dependencies and you are going to prepare your script. That's it. You are not going to do anything more than that. Got it right. So just just as a recap, just I want to highlight, please note it down. You are going to consider the desired capability stuff, which is nothing but the target device. You are going to target device information you are going to mention here, and the target application information going to be mentioned here, and the user action script you are going to take care here. Finally, please don't forget to add the driver.quit, so which is going to terminate the connection in between the client and the server. The client is nothing but your Eclipse IDE, and the server is already running in your machine. Okay, so this is the server. Yeah, that's it about the Appium high level information. Thank you, Mayur. Thank you for the opportunity provided to me. So just I covered some high level information about the Appium implementation to cover the iOS and Android application automation.
So just quickly
Mayur, your voice is
okay.
getting break. Actually, we are not able to hear it properly.
This is good.
Mayur, are you there?
Yeah, am I audible? Hello.
Yeah, yeah, please.
Yeah, I'm audible, right?
Yeah, now it is fine.
So we have a question from Abdul, and he's asking that how different it is to setting this up on a Mac machine than on a Windows machine, because what you showed us is uh, what you showed us now is Windows machine, right? So how do we set this up on a Mac machine?
Yeah, so I told you right. The Android platform is going to be depend on the Android SDK. So like that, the iPhone can be automated using the iOS SDK. So those iOS SDK cannot be installed in the Windows machine. Okay, it will be available only in the Mac machine. Okay, the Mac OS X. You are going to download the Xcode. The Xcode is the dependency. Okay, so the Xcode is nothing but which is the IDE, and again it's integrated with the iOS SDK. So there is no option to install that Xcode in your Windows machine. So because of that only, you are not able to do iOS automation in your Windows machine. Mayur, are you there? Mayur, we are not able to hear you.
Yeah, this is correct.
Your
So
voice is getting break
this
actually.
question, yeah, is this audible now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so this is all question we have for now. Thank you so much, Gopi, for this. And I understand you had a personal issues with it. Apart from that, you still came out, and I totally appreciate your commitment. Thank you so much, Gopi, for doing
Yeah.
this.
Thank you,
And
Mayur. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you
so,
for
anybody
whoever
have,
all joining the session.
yeah, and if you have any more question, feel free to ask in this comment box. Do you see my screen?
Yeah, yeah, we can see. Yeah.
Okay. So if you have any question, you can ask us here. We are still around for like minutes, and we'll be answering your question. So next thing, what I'm going to explain is next thing I'm going to answer is explain about question and answer site that we have. So we have a question and answer site called Software Testing Professionals, where you can come and ask your question, and one person on the team, he will go and answer your question. So this is a question and answer site. You can register here, and it will be just like a typical question and answer site like Quora and Stack Overflow. So next thing also I wanted to explain up site that we have. So as you all know that we are organizing a monthly meetup. Uh, this is not a workshop or a tutorial. This is just anybody can come and talk. So if you want to be a speaker at the next meetup, uh, you can fill up this Google form, which is available on the meetups page, softwaretestingbot.com/meetups. And this meetup happens on uh, every fourth Saturday of the month. So you can it is a monthly meetup. Next thing, if you want to stay updated, you can follow us on our you can also follow us on our podcast page, that is linkedin.com/software testing board. And also, if you want to stay updated, you can follow us on meetup.com. uh, you can go to meetup.com and that /software testing board Chennai. And these are our contact details. So if you have any question, you can always contact us. So that's all from our end. I don't see any more question coming up today. So that's all, Copy. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much for the demo, wonderful demo, and thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. And talk to you sometimes again in the next meetup with a new topic.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you, Mayur. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks. Bye. Bye.